All right, it's the top of the hour, so I hope everyone is ready to begin and is enjoying the Virtual Worlds Best Practices in Education Conference 2023. Welcome, everyone, to VWEC, A Metaverse Myth Becomes a Reality. I'm here with two representatives from the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium, Krayatya Shannon and Wisdom Seeker Lasenna. So first, I want to start out with what is VWEC? Well, the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium began in 2021 with a few educators getting together, sharing the simple goal of bringing educators together to share goals and achievements in Second Life. But over the past 3 years, almost 3 years now, it has developed into a hub for teaching and learning in the metaverse. To align with the VWBPE 2024 conference theme of mythic origins, I'd like to debunk a few metaverse myths. First, the metaverse is just a fad. Then, the metaverse means VR headsets. Another myth, students can't learn serious content in the metaverse. And finally, finding people and places useful for education is impossible in the metaverse. So as far as that myth of the metaverse being a fad, you're here and you know it's not true, but let me explain a bit why. Zoom in, you'll have to zoom way in on my slide to see it. The metaverse is not going away. It is rapidly expanding. The kids are already there. Here's a shot from one of our VWEC Expert Series sessions, which take place twice a month at the VWEC Eduverse Welcome Plaza. And in that shot, my slide, Professor of Architecture Brian Lonsway, he's the one who helped design the Welcome Plaza. And in this slide, he is sharing how children are learning to code and learning to build in Minecraft. He's a professor of architecture, and he's advocating using Minecraft to teach. Kindergartners are already in the metaverse. It's not a fad. VWEC has a presence in a Minecraft-like open source world called Minetest, and you can find out more about that on our website. Look under the Communities tab, scroll down to Across the Metaverse. And what about the VR headsets? That's another myth. The metaverse means headsets. No way. We don't need no VR headsets. I'm on my second headset, having tried the Oculus Rift and now the Oculus Quest. But to tell the truth, I feel just as immersed right here in Second Life, and I don't feel trapped. And I have an amazing interface with all the tools at my fingertips to create collaboratively in this amazing interface. But many of us are exploring headsets with our VR headsets to be able to compare these platforms and to keep up with the evolving virtual landscapes. And the third myth, students can't learn serious content in the metaverse. We're curating a bibliography of research on serious learning. We also share our expert series that I mentioned. We have a playlist with a variety of different perspectives and subjects for serious learning. I'll put the VWEC Expert Series playlist link in the local chat. It's on our VWE Consortium YouTube channel. And finally, that fourth myth that I mentioned, finding people and places useful for education is impossible in the metaverse. We agree it has been difficult over the past 15 years and longer for early adopters to connect across the globe. Many struggled to find others and share best practices. That's why we're at this conference. Also, there were many of us really striving to reinvent the wheel without realizing that others had already paved the way. But through collaboration at VWEC, the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium, and you too can be a member, we are now offering our databases and directories alongside collaborative tools. Prayatna Shannon is our database team leader, and she curates our directories. I'm going to drop you a folder in just a minute with a few note cards that you can look at later that will help you if you're interested, and they correspond to our directories. So I'm going to turn it over to Shannon.
Thank you, Val. As mentioned, there are two major directories that we have available. One of them focuses on different locations for education that are actively managed by a group of people that come together and meet on some sort of regular basis. And that's how we define a community. The other directory that we have is one that we refer to as members. And that one is for anyone affiliated with the group or not who wants to offer their services to help other people who are interested in education. Right now, there's a third project we're starting to work on based on feedback that we received. There were two different seminars that we did last year. One here in Second Life with the nonprofit Commons, and we also did one in Kitely on how to use these directories. One thing that people wanted to see was a list of landmarks, places that were educational in nature but not necessarily hooked into a specific community. For example, may have been built by an individual. So we are also seeking suggestions for these kind of places, which, as I said, we call landmarks. One of the things that when Val gives you the cards, you will get a suggestion sheet for landmarks specifically bundled into that package. Now, okay, just want to make sure to give her a minute. And there's you should see there a visual shot of what to expect when you're using the communities and the members directories. Both of these are done in a program called Airtable. Now, in the case of the communities directory, when people request to be put in there, they're actually filling out a Google Sheet first, and all those different locations are vetted to make sure they are educational in nature, whether it's institutional, lifelong learning, you name it. And then right now it's just me, but someone will then manually put those that are verified into Airtable. The members directory is set up in Airtable so that as soon as you input, it goes live. And everything that is input, and there are advisories given on the screen when you do this. Everything that is put in is immediately made available to the public. Now, the next question that comes up, where do we find these directories? Okay, right now they can be found at the Second Life Information Center for the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium. We just finished at the start of the year building a brand new info center in Kitely, which avatars that are in other worlds outside Second Life can hypergrid to for this information as well. And that's located in the Creative Collaborator space in Kitely. Additionally, it's also available on the website for the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium. There are short links that are there. I'm just waiting for the speakeasy to catch up so that people can, if they need to, can read while I'm talking. Apologies for the pause. To become part of the community's directory database, as I mentioned, it's directory on the front end. When I say database, I'm thinking about it as doing input on the back end. So you have to forgive me if I slip into technical. But they're directories first and foremost. Now for the community's directory, the current community owner, because contact information will be asked for. It's never displayed on the front end, but it needs to be asked for in case we have questions. So the current community owner must submit that information for review. As I said before, each individual can submit to the members directory themselves. And we are happy to take any landmark leads and follow up with the owners of the areas from the form that you've received today. We look forward to seeing what there is to discover in Second Life and beyond. Now back to you, Val, for some more.
Thank you, Kriyatya. So in addition to our directories, we want to be clear that Second Life is our favorite virtual world, but the metaverse is evolving and we are hypergrid jumping across the metaverse to the open sims and beyond. I don't want you to feel like you need to. Nobody has to leave Second Life. It's the best place to start. In the open sim worlds, we now have a presence and we're connecting with the Hypergrid Safari group and other educators there so that we all have a better way to collaborate. If you're interested in exploring the VR headset worlds, and most of those can be accessed on a desktop as well, you don't have to have a VR headset to go to most VR worlds. You can join the VR Exploder Club. You can look on our calendar for times and for places. We meet monthly, usually on the second Saturday at 9 a.m. Second Life time, Pacific time. And also, since none of us can possibly keep up all alone and go everywhere, we have VWEC ambassadors across worlds. A session tomorrow at noon will share the VR Exploders with Marie Vance. If you're interested in hearing more about the Exploder Club, that was a typo. It was Explorers. Someone typed Exploders, and we decided to keep the name. Our ambassadors are currently Cooper Swizzle and Kitely. Olive Tree Lighthouse is helping us in Mind Test. We have a new grid opening up next month, so we will have ambassadors in other places. And remember that myth I mentioned that serious learning can't take place in the metaverse? Well, serious learning is taking place. And an example of that, many of you have right here at the conference, but for VWEC, our VWEC Student Challenge, the title was Serious Learning in the Metaverse. And this past fall of 2023, we launched our first student challenge, and it was a grand success. You can see here on the slide at the awards ceremony, the different student groups were acknowledged. We had students from several different countries around the world participate. Some of the students have projects displayed right here at the Virtual Worlds Best Practices in Education Conference, and their research is on display at the VWEC Welcome Plaza. You can come visit them tomorrow morning, Saturday morning at 8 a.m. There'll be a student poster session here at the conference. We developed a rubric to score the student projects for real learning outcomes. And those criteria included authenticity and accuracy, citation of sources, accessibility and aesthetic appeal, interactivity and immersion, and the students were required to do a presentation video. A wide variety of subjects were chosen for the students to build, including science and light, the history of information, an accessible kids playground, a cultural museum, and more subjects. So now I'm going to turn the mic over to Wisdom Seeker so she can share with you what the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium can offer for you, because that's the whole point of getting involved. What can it do for you? Wisdom Seeker?
Thank you very much. So one of the most attractive aspects of VWEC for me is its inclusiveness and opportunities to volunteer and to participate in the activities other volunteers offer. I'm a volunteer myself. I sit at the Information Center desk every Saturday from 6 to 7 a.m. and then hand the baton to Creator here, who has the next shift. And that's me at the Info Center. You can sort of see me there. VWEC has a number of committees that can use more members to help with the many tasks that make the Eduverse so valuable to us all. Just tell Elli, Pinion, or Valibrarian that you're interested. That's all you need to do. They're sure to suggest something you'll enjoy doing. We all know how much volunteering contributes to our own well-being. So, how you can participate in VWEC. As for participating, here are just a few suggestions. These are all ways both to learn and to meet others with common interests. And isn't SL all about people? I think so. You can start to learn scripting with Max Chat-Noir. You can chat with Ari and others during his music hour at the community center. You can try many kinds of meditation at you and Bonham's monthly sessions. You can sit in on a variety of weekly fireside chats where volunteers hosts create a friendly atmosphere for your ideas and questions. That's another great place to meet new people also interested in education. And every other Friday at the Expert Series, you can learn from SL educators about innovative ways to teach and learn in Second Life. And those are all taking place on these different places on the pictures. I keep saying I must learn to take better pictures. Once a month, VWEC takes us on tours out into Second Life, which is a great way to expand your horizons here. And Jan Loria takes us through his education portal on great adventures in Second Life and beyond. Every Monday, you can check notices about the week's events by joining the VWEC group, and the calendar is also on the VWEC website. What I'm going to do is give you just a sample from this week's calendar for those of you who are here, just to get us, make sure you kind of know to go looking for it, because it's there every Monday in the group. Let's see if I can do this. If I can, I guess I can't. Yeah, I have to select them all. Hang on a moment. Just so you know what it looks like. That's the title. I also put this on Discord in the VWC channel and the Metaverse libraries every Monday as well. Okay, so next question is or I guess the answer is what you can learn from models of teaching. If you'd like to learn how to teach in Second Life, you should definitely visit the Models of Teaching exhibit right nearby our deck area. You'll find 3D exhibits of higher ed institutions currently in SL and samples of their lifelong learning program activities. And these are well worth a visit. So I gave 2 more slides here. This is just the general introduction to each. You want to do okay, and these are the examples right now of models of higher education teaching. They're 3D. You can go into them. You can really see how Second Life is used in all its glory in these exhibits. And then the final one is the models of the next one is the lifelong learning exhibit. I'll wait for that one to come up. Okay, these are smaller exhibits, but they give you, they're interactive, and they give you ideas about the many, many ways you can teach and learn after school in Second Life. So whether you want to teach or learn or both, there are plenty of opportunities here to get involved and join the fun. As a volunteer, I can tell you it will add a lot of meaning to your life in Second Life.
Thank you, Wisdom Seeker. So, as you can tell, VWEC is now a hub for teaching and learning in the metaverse. And what VWEC really strives to do is promote what you are doing. And in this way, we can keep VWBPE going all year long. We all come together and have for many years to this amazing conference, and then sometimes we lose track of each other until the next year. There are opportunities for you to network with many educators across the globe, to collaborate, and to mentor other people. I sort of feel like we are all both mentors and mentees because none of us know everything. So the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium can spotlight your work. We invite you to contact us later so that we can know how we can help you find your niche in Second Life and beyond across the metaverse. VWEC has many formal educators and teachers, information professionals and librarians, but also subject experts, artists, scientists, medical personnel, people with subject area expertise that can help teach and learn here, and lifelong learners, and they're all working together. So I invite you now to open up a conversation and a discussion on what you see as a need for better collaboration across the metaverse as it evolves. So let's open up for questions, and we are willing to follow the chat, or you can use voice. If you have a concern on your mind for what's difficult about the future of teaching and learning in the metaverse, as I said, it's not going away. The kids are already there. I will put in the local chat the name of the Google group where you can join if you're interested in getting emails. There used to be a listserv for educators in Second Life. It went away, and now you can join Metaverse Libraries at googlegroups.com.
Hi Val, it's Sidearm. Are we allowed to speak?
Yes, you are, Sight. Go for it. What would you like to say or ask?
Okay, so your question is, okay, I'll paraphrase. How can VWEC help spread the word of metaverse education best practices? So I just had the opportunity to read a brand new dissertation by a brand new PhD person that some of you know. She did interviews here in Second Life last year with experienced practitioners. I skipped her conclusions, and two things struck me. One, she has some excellent tables of what the metaverse and Second Life are particularly good for, practices like, you skip to the bottom and read them. But this is a contemporary researcher, and the research I've worked with in the past are 10 years in the past. Her conclusion, Second Life has become a lot easier to use than it was 10 years in past, according to the practitioners. And she attributed reasons for that. So I'm thinking it's time for a renaissance of getting some more contemporary research out there, whether dissertation level or simple academic papers with practical demonstrations and principles of people actively working now here. And I'm going to pursue this. There are some new people we're working with who are doctoral advisors and doctoral students who are Control B, clicking the floor in front of them and resing cues and learning what to do with it. It's very exciting. And I want to emphasize, I see this as a new era. I know that many people were in the educational field 10 years ago. I was not. I was in the business and entertainment side. For those who don't know, I was helping operate Dublin and Second Life, San Diego and Second Life, blah, 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 blah. I only got into education in the last 3 or 4 years when I met Val and yet another metaverse platform. So maybe helping seeing it from the outside is just get some more research out there and generate a buzz of what people are doing today and substantiating it. Anyway, that's it. Over.
Great point from Sidearm, and we really need to do that, to get some more current research out there about how the metaverse is growing, and taking note. Thank you. Any other feedback on what you need to see after this conference when we all walk away? What do you need? You know, how can others support the work that you want to do in the metaverse?
Can I jump in here, Val?
Yes, please, Dave.
All right, and it's a good follow-up to what Sidearm just said. Many of you know I taught for 33 years at a high school, 19 years at college. I tried, I really did. First of all, my school blocked Second Life for students because, well, you all know about the content in here, some. I tried every semester that I taught at the college to get students just into Second Life, let alone not, just creating. And I would have 30 students at a time, and maybe out of all the years that I taught, I could get 1 or 2. I really got to the point that, well, I was using other platforms. I've already mentioned what some of them are at this conference. But I've recently had a new experience. I'm working with a family in Arizona. So one of whom is close to me right now, and got to work with the grandkids and put aside my prejudices and brought them into Second Life, and they flourished like fish in water. I'm talking about, of course, it's all done with the permission of the parents, and I was absolutely shocked at how much the kids could learn if they were closely supervised. So I guess my perception of using Second Life is changing at that point, which Sidearm will be happy to hear about, many would be happy to hear about. But yeah, I'm seeing more and more of the educational possibilities, and I haven't had these kids building yet in Second Life, but they certainly had a lot of fun exploring in Second Life. Get smelling salts for Sidearm, please, somebody.
We actually had some high school students at the Student Challenge with VWEC. Of course, we're careful about privacy and concerns like that, but it was great to see younger people actually coming in and building, and they did some high quality work. I see a question for Day about what kinds of places did you take them to? Yes, and Day has some amazing museums across the metaverse. He's built his dinosaur and prehistoric world builds in many different virtual spaces. And Day is saying that dinosaurs are particularly great for teaching the concepts of scale and proportion. I think that's a really good example of, you have to have a curriculum goal rather than just come in and build whatever you want. If they come in and build whatever they want, it's basically going to be, in Minecraft, a house, so you can get protected for that zombie that's coming out tonight, and that, we were talking earlier, that is inherently somewhat educational, but it doesn't move them forward within a curriculum and within their development that they need academically. So if a teacher can figure out what it is you're trying to teach and then allow them that creativity, it's a win-win for both. And thank you, Helena, for mentioning that Builders Brewery, Happy Hippos, some of these places are great for teaching both educators and students how to build and all the tools here in Second Life. Builders Brewery partnered with our VWEC Student Challenge and provided classes, both basic building and intermediate building. Amazing, because they're so good at it. They know how to pace that teaching to where the student can actually build something with prims. And then Virtual Ability, Gentle Heron also did a session for the Student Challenge on accessibility. Not that students need to build everything for hearing impaired or people with, vision loss or anything like that, but they need to be aware of it, aware that these worlds can be used by people with disabilities. So it's great that we have this community of experts that can help with that, because not all of us understand all about accessibility, nor are expert builders.
Okay, I'll pop in again. My paraphrase question, how can VWEC share the word with fellow practitioners like us here? So we did a pilot last semester on teaching meta-entrepreneurship with fourth-year students, and they did very well. An arranged performance for values of very well, but there are clear, some brilliant standouts. It very much emphasized for us, Val and all, what happens when you get them building in Second Life. They commit at a whole new level. It's like night and day. The first thing you do, and this was brought up at the Quadrivium earlier today, is take people on a tour and get them excited about what other people have built. But that kind of fades pretty quickly until they see, gosh, I can build here too. And if they get hooked by it, they'll start to progress at their own pace. But it's a very, to me, a tricky transition to get from the gee whiz, this looks great, to gosh, I'm willing to stumble and look awkward and be embarrassed by the crap on the ground that I'm making that doesn't look anything like that floating whale that I rode on in Delia Lake's Utopia or exhibit the other day. Anyway, in Meta-Entrepreneurship, we took them to the Builders Brewery class from Student Challenge. We invited forth from Builders Brewery to come in and give a more advanced class. And our own faculty members who are younger took on teaching them building, which, as you all know, is a labor-intensive process getting them through the first menus. At least for me it is. So it takes work, and finding a few people that get lit up by the idea, they start to spread the word. But going back to my point about the new era, we now have students excited by it. Kriatya talked about some of hers. I guess my point was get them building as soon as possible with, as Val said, having I forget what you called it, a lesson plan or a curriculum model. We called it design a product based on market research and sell it in Second Life. So that was their structure. That was their framework inside of which they learned to operate and get around. Over.
Yes, and I think that is really the whole beauty of what has happened with VWEC, is that a lot of us understood this idea years ago, but we were isolated. We were out there saying, come over here, and we finally realized we were all struggling to do the same thing, and that's understand how to use 3D immersive environments for learning. You can't do that alone, So that's why we want to see how we can help others through spotlighting what you do. And if you peruse our website, which is growing, we are trying to put a lot of different communities with different perspectives on the website so you can find what you're interested in and not just, be isolated out there in a virtual world. I see that Rhiannon just mentioned using project-based learning to get folks comfortable with building and using the immersive environment. And when Saidom said sometimes, they're embarrassed when, you build it and it doesn't look right, it's off, the colors aren't there. It's tricky learning how to build, but a good teacher knows this in the physical world and it applies to the virtual world. You have to set that attitude and tone of a community of trust where you realize, and you're not afraid to fail, because we all do in here. It doesn't always work right. The glitches happen. Your mic doesn't work. You're crashing. And I think that helps build a community of trust where you're willing to just come back and try again. Eclectic, got it. We used to joke at the community virtual library that our main question, when a person would come into the library asking for help, the main question was, how do I get this box off my head? It's true.
Okay, Site here again with another wonderful idea, which I will help with down the road if you guys are interested. So my perception, and maybe I'm totally wrong, but I mentioned that my primary activity in Second Life at the beginning was, and first love is entrepreneurship. And Dublin and Second Life, San Diego and Second Life, sister cities in Second Life. I even participated in a Second Life certification building program, which kind of stumbled and ended along the way. I don't feel like I see any. The only exception is Builders Brewery. Kudos. An organization that is, go to Dublin and Second Life and advertise and see if you can get a few people who are not professional educators get interested, because they're teaching staff. We would have training classes for hostesses and shift managers. There's all kind of training that goes on in the virtual and real world that's quote unquote work related, and there's a lot of work going on in Second Life, and they're not aware of this group, and if they are, I'm not sure they know what they could get from coming here, because to me as an outsider, it sounds like a lot of academic educational jargon. Affordances, for God's sake. I had to look that up. And what is an affordance? So I'm not saying that's bad. Every profession has its own vocabulary. But maybe as part of the ambassador program, Val, reaching out to other vocabularies, and I think we could drum up some more members. I know you ran into this recruiting new people to the Eduverse, and you got several new communities of practice. I forget the name of one, but they had their own covenant and charter, and they elected to come. But I don't see them coming to the VWEC that I'm aware of. So the idea is extend your ambassador scope to working stiffs in Second Life who could benefit from best practices in training, in on-the-job, quote-unquote, training. Over.
That makes total sense, Sidearm. And for me, I do think it's really important to have a balance between serious, high-quality academics and lifelong learning and open to all, because that's the goal in the end. Once you get your degree at any institution, the goal is to transfer it to your life. And we strive to do both here. We don't want to throw away the rich history of libraries and higher education objectives and all of that jargon, alongside everyone's welcome, because, and it's this whole idea of open source tools too that are free. I heard this said, and see if you all agree. Big tech companies like Adobe, it's pricey to buy the whole suite of Adobe products. So I'm going with OBS, it's free. And the people who make OBS, they iron out those glitches quickly out of their passion. They're not getting paid for it like the people over at Adobe. Well, there's a balance here, making money or doing what you love. We have to think about that balance and not throw away either side of it. We do want high quality academic standards, but we want everyone to be learning and everyone to be welcome. And I think it's possible to do both as long as you understand that balance.
Actually, Val, can I interject for a minute? This is Shannon. What I'm thinking of as I'm listening to the discussion here is right now I'm studying library science and information systems. I'm also currently in my last year of classes at San Jose State University while I've been working with the VWEC. And a lot of what I do school-wise in training, that's all theory, that's all academic. Well, right now I'm also doing an internship in person in a public library. And I realize that the folks that are coming in, the approach to what they want, their approach to learning, is completely different than an academic library. And I think that's kind of what Sidearm is getting at, is the idea is if a library or any group is a resource of information, there are different people that are looking for that information and they're looking for it in different ways. So yeah, I think it's possible too. It's just finding that balance.
Can I jump in here again, sort of a follow-up to where I think we're going? Like I said, I'm starting to see some success with some younger children, but I just looked up the age restrictions for Second Life, and they're not supposed to be on here under 16. But Meta just dropped their age requirements from 13 to 10 for using VR headsets. I'm wondering, well, Linen Lab is going to feel if you have parent access or parent permission to bring younger kids in here to explore and maybe even to create.
Okay, that's a good point, Day, and I'm going to build on it. Let's see, I have to be careful how I say this because I may be misrepresenting it, but remember, I come in, so my work with Technological University Dublin and Shaw University Turkey, who are working with first year, third year, and fourth year students, I am astonished. This is me saying this, okay? So don't just say, if you have to talk about someone, talk to John O'Connor or Murat Gomez. I'm astonished. They have no issue on our class roster, red team, blue team, green team, avatar name, real life name, bam, bam, side by side. When I was growing up in Second Life, it was a cardinal sin to refer to anybody by their real life name without their explicit permission in writing. For them, no big deal. And a year, 3 or 4 years ago, I said, well, have you had them sign an NDA or a waiver? Sure. So it doesn't seem to be a big deal, at least in those particular environments. And again, don't quote me on public media, double check with them. Whereas here, I'm going to go watch Bethany's talk later on today. It's just like a tempest in a teapot, kind of. Oh my God, they exposed real life information, or oh my God, they saw something bare pixels, or oh my God. So it seems to me like it's a major extra issue we deal with using Second Life, which is the most pragmatic environment. Solutions, run over to Kitely, do it in OpenSim, no problem. I did that. I worked with someone doing their dissertation 10 years ago, and that was their final solution. But it completely blocks them out of staying in the metaverse later on. So what's the point? The point is there are some ways to work around it. Zoom, a workshop that's being done in Second Life, I guess, which is safe for the students to watch. I stopped streaming on Twitch and went to YouTube because Twitch forbids streaming YouTube on the off chance that you'll get photobombed by somebody with bare pixels. YouTube, follow the YouTube standards and put not made for kids, and they're okay, you know. So I don't have an answer for this, but I'm saying this is a major stumbling block, I feel, for the mission of VWEC to help the K-12 community get active in the metaverse. And it seems to, my observation is it's forcing you into working in Minecraft. It's forcing you to work into OpenSim. Not that I mean forcing, but you know what I mean. But it's blocking the K-12 community, I feel, from completely connecting to the 100 to 1,000 times bigger practitioners that are available in Second Life. And the practitioners in Second Life, the ones that I've approached about it, they said Second Life or nothing. They're not going to go out of their way because they've learned how to work here. Not that I'm against that. I'm seeing like these two different groups that are like trying to get them together. So some way of, I don't have an idea on that right now. I'm just observing it as a major stumbling block. Over.
Well, I'm glad you pointed it out because there are definite stumbling blocks, you know, I mean, and they're not going to be easy to just fix. But to me, that's why I'm here, is because I care about the next generation. How are they going to learn in this crazy information landscape that is evolving in the internet and the metaverse? But the way that we can overcome those stumbling blocks is together. We sure can't do it alone. So that's the point of VWEC. We bring these experts in to talk about cybersecurity, to talk about privacy, to talk about AI. We just had a panel last week. And to talk about things like you're saying, what's the difference with K-12? How can we solve this problem? We can only solve it together.
This is Elli, and I apologize because I'm constantly getting IMs, and you guys may have said this, but so stop me, Val, if you already did. I think I've been paying attention. So we have a region called the Eduverse region, and we worked with Linen Labs. They were actually had the idea as well to make it a more secure area for students where you didn't look over and see a brothel or crazy people next door to you. And in that region, Midori has set up some private areas for K-12. I know. She has set up some private areas. I believe there's at least one K-12 school and maybe more. She doesn't want to give out a ton of information for privacy, and we understand that. But it is very similar to the Teen Grid, except it's on the main Second Life grid. But it is all closed off, and there is a Reg API that will take the students right into that area and lock everything down. The point is for instructors who are more comfortable here to be able to use this platform. And so there are some efforts to be able to do that. But in respect to what everyone else has said, it's completely locked down. It's very private. It is not having them roam the Second Life world. So I hope that's helpful.
Well, my follow-up then, Elli, would be not now, not in the next month, not this year, but I'm so impressed with with how you guys and Kevin / Phelan, I don't know how he persuaded, cajoled, showed the benefits of creating the Eduverse area. That was a major milestone. And then Jennifer's dissertation alluded to, and again, this was before my time in education, that there did used to be a way to have secure areas in Second Life. And then what I think happened was it was such a pain in the you-know-what that back then Linden Labs said, never mind. But with the new era, the Renaissance, maybe they could start looking at something to do, as long as we be polite and courteous about it and don't demand it like a right. And I'm exaggerating for effect here, and demand it be cheap and demand perfection, but again, show them the benefit of it, which is their continued growth as an organization, just like VWEC is committed to its future growth as an organization. And so yeah, let's follow up on that. Whatever the adjective in here, pace with a pace. Don't forget about it, but keep it paced so it's not overloading. Over.
I have been course teaching K-12, been here for a while, but sometimes it does require to even have the parents to sign up. But the benefit of having it instead of a closed down area is I can travel to Genome Island and I can travel to other things and use those in the teaching process, which makes it wonderful because obviously I don't want to recreate all of these great sites that are out here. So that is a real problem that needs to be addressed. I have not had any trouble with my students, and I've been doing this. I think I started teaching high school kids in here in 2016.
Well, you've raised some really great thoughts, concerns, examples, and I just hope that throughout this next year, before we meet again at next year's conference, you will consider how VWEC can help you, and you'll come forward with any ideas that we can put forward to help teaching and learning in the metaverse. So thank you all so much. It's been a pleasure having this conference bring us all together.
For heaven's sake, when is the next quarterly meeting, Val? Invite them.
We have 4 quarterly meetings a year: January, April, July, and October. And the next one will be on April the 3rd. The VWEC quarterly meeting is April the 3rd, which is very soon, a couple weeks. 9 a.m., mark your calendars. I hope that's correct. Yeah, watch the calendar, and when the quarterly meetings are a great way to just see what's going on across the metaverse for teaching and learning. But there are also fireside chats where you can come and just hang out and express your concerns. And we certainly would love for you to come and volunteer at the Info Center, which is a hub for anyone new that's interested in teaching and learning. They can come and ask questions and figure out where they belong and what they might want to see and do.
Thank you, Val. And just a quick observation in public, invite us to one thing at a time. Come to the next quarterly meeting, April 3rd at 9 a.m. Second Life. See you then. Bye.
Thank you, Sidearm. Excellent.